It is merely an aged fishing vessel. Move past it, my dear." The yacht owner chuckled softly as the grand hull gracefully enveloped the veteran's vessel. No one came to my aid. Not a single soul offered an apology. The sun-bleached vessel, adorned with the American flag, gracefully drifted into the harbor, its colors gently frayed. Yet, as dawn broke, the harbor fell into a hushed stillness, 6 Navy ships gliding in with an air of solemnity, their flags gracefully lowered to half-mast. Whom did they honor with their salute? And why had the sea, in its vastness, suddenly recalled the presence of one long-forgotten soul? Do you still hold the belief that acts of kindness return to us in beautiful ways? Kindly share your reflections. Welcome to QH, where elegance meets charm. Let us unveil the truth of what truly transpired. Henry Reynolds, 72, had gracefully embraced a serene existence in Harborside for many years. Each morning, he would grace the water before the first light of dawn, his weathered hands deftly steering the wooden boat he had crafted with care upon his return from service. In a coastal town where luxury and tourism reigned supreme, he stood as a living relic, cherished by a few, yet unseen by the many. His vessel, the Liberty Child, possessed a humble charm that belied its true essence. The paint had gently surrendered to the embrace of 40 years of salt and sun, while the wooden hull whispered its history in every creak and groan. Yet it possessed a certain strength, crafted by a soul who recognized that true beauty often resides beneath the surface. Henry had meticulously fashioned it, plank by plank, upon his return from Vietnam, allowing the soothing rhythm of his labor to hush the haunting memories that trailed him from the sea. The townsfolk were scarcely aware of his distinguished service history. Henry was not one to utter such matters. All they understood was that he had served in the Navy, and that occasionally he would awaken in the night, his cries echoing across the tranquil waters during serene evenings as he rested on his boat. That Wednesday morning unfolded like a gentle whisper of familiarity. At the break of dawn, Henry embarked on his journey at 5 a.m., eager to tend to his crab pots and witness the enchanting sunrise from his cherished vantage point by the harbor mouth. As he completed the task of securing his mooring, a deep throb of powerful engines reached his ears, resonating with an undeniable allure. The La Vita glided around the harbor bend, a resplendent white mountain, 600 tons of Italian-designed elegance, slicing through the water with an air of assured grace. At the forefront stood Colton Reed, a 38-year-old tech entrepreneur who had recently acquired the town's most expansive beachfront estate. Henry recalled seeing him in the local papers, which had heralded his arrival as a much-needed boon for the beleaguered community. Henry gracefully waved his arms, beckoning to reveal his presence. The yacht glided effortlessly through the waters, showing no signs of slowing down. "Greetings, I find myself anchored here," he called, his voice gently drowned by the hum of the yacht's engine. Upon the upper deck, Reed and his esteemed guests lifted their champagne flutes, laughter dancing in the air as they shared a private jest, blissfully unaware, or perhaps unconcerned by the small wooden boat that lay before them. The harbor's security boat gently swayed in the water, its officer observing with a hint of unease, yet remaining still, as if caught in a moment of quiet contemplation. The collision resonated with a disconcerting sound, echoing through the air. The Liberty Child's stern fractured beneath the yacht's bow, the delicate wood yielding to the might of steel and fiberglass. With a swift leap, Henry barely escaped, landing with a thud upon the dock as his beloved boat, a masterpiece of his own making, shattered beneath the weight of the imposing vessel. The American flag he had proudly flown for 4 decades broke free, cascading into the tumultuous waters, its crimson stripes mingling with the frothy waves. At last, the engines fell silent. In the unexpected hush, Reed's exasperated voice resonated beautifully across the water. "It is merely an old fishing vessel. Let us not dwell on it." Henry rose with a gentle grace, his weary knees offering a soft protest. Around him, a gathering had formed, morning joggers, dock workers, and tourists, their phones lifted in eager anticipation. With a hesitant grace, the harbor's security officer drew near, taking not a single step forward to offer assistance. "Mr. Reynolds, I must prepare a report." Yet, Henry remained oblivious to her words. He had caught sight of his flag, drifting away, tattered and drenched. He ambled along the dock, each step a gentle reminder of his aching shoulder, until he could gracefully reach down and draw it from the water's embrace. He pressed the wet fabric to his chest, cradling it with a tenderness akin to that of a lover embracing a cherished memory. When he lifted his gaze to the crowd, his eyes conveyed neither anger nor accusation. Instead, they radiated a serene dignity that compelled the onlookers to avert their gaze in unease. "What a lovely boat," Reed called from his deck, the sarcasm dancing lightly through the morning air. "Perhaps the moment has come for a delightful transformation, dear companion. All things possess their own fleeting moment in time." Henry remained silent. He gracefully collected the drenched flag and turned away, his posture unwavering despite the ache in his joints, his steps firm even as his hands quivered slightly. From behind him, a soft laughter echoed. A gentle phone notification chimed as the inaugural video graced the online world, bearing the caption, "Old man, old boat, old news." As the sun reached its zenith, the harbor gracefully resumed its usual rhythm. The shattered remnants of Liberty Child had been gently swept aside. A blemish erased, a dilemma resolved. As individuals glided through the video, many lingered just briefly to type a simple greeting, "Hello," before resuming their daily pursuits. No one spoke of the tears that had shimmered, unfallen, in the eyes of the seasoned sailor. Thomas's home perched gracefully on a gentle bluff, offering a charming view of the harbor. This modest cottage, acquired with his Navy pension many years ago, now stands as a testament to a time when property values had yet to ascend beyond the grasp of the everyday worker. From his front window, he beheld the town's enchanting metamorphosis from a humble fishing community into a captivating vacation haven. The transformation, as gentle and unyielding as the ebb and flow of the ocean's waves. As the sun dipped below the horizon, he found himself seated at his kitchen table, enveloped in a gentle ambience. A wooden chest gracefully unveiled itself before him. Within rested the remnants of a life devoted to duty, delicate photographs capturing youthful faces with earnest gazes, commendation letters softened by the passage of time, and dog tags that once rested close to his heart during midnight vigils and tempestuous voyages. At the bottom, delicately folded, rested another American flag, this one crisp and immaculate, bestowed upon him upon his retirement from active duty. In the soft glow of the evening light, his grandson, Daniel, returned from college, standing gracefully in the doorway, observing the scene before him. "Will you be pursuing legal action against them, dear Grandpa? That gentleman has caused ruin to your vessel. He ought to take responsibility." Henry gently shook his head, his fingers gliding over the delicate embroidered stars on the flag. He spoke softly, assuring me that he had not laid a hand on me. He merely struck a thing that had long been overlooked by all. Daniel's brow furrowed, the sting of injustice igniting a fiercer flame in his youthful heart than in the time-worn one of his grandfather. "Yet, it was you who crafted that vessel. It held a special significance for you." "Indeed," Henry consented, to my delight. As the night deepened and Daniel succumbed to slumber, Henry gently unfurled the pages of his cherished logbook. For 4 decades, he meticulously documented the weather, the condition of the sea, and the day's bountiful catch. He penned with grace, "First day without Liberty Child. No condolences are extended, yet the gentle whisper of the water still beckons to me." He gently closed the book, then turned on his modest television, inviting a flicker of light into the room. The local news was featuring a captivating story about Reed's yacht, heralding it as the grandest private vessel to ever grace the waters of Harborside Harbor. The morning's collision was left unspoken. The video had captured the hearts of many online, spreading like wildfire. The majority of remarks favored the yacht owner. That old boat was rather unsightly, to say the least. It is essential for this generation to recognize the opportune moment to embrace retirement. Why not embrace the present and acquire a contemporary vessel? That afternoon, the harbor master had made his call. His voice carried a polished neutrality, as he eloquently explained. "Your vessel lacked the adornments of radar reflectors and the guiding glow of proper navigation lights. It fell short of contemporary expectations. I fear that the insurance company may not provide coverage for the loss." Henry listened in quiet contemplation, then expressed his gratitude to the man before gently ending the call. He had chosen not to reveal that his boat was cherished under the legacy of older regulations, nor that he had consistently passed every safety inspection for 4 decades. What was the purpose of it all? The Liberty Child has departed. The sea had gracefully reclaimed what he had once borrowed from its depths. Such was the essence of existence. Yet, as he lingered on his porch that evening, gazing at the shimmering harbor lights, the absence throbbed within him like a ghostly echo. It was not merely wood and canvas that had slipped away from him. In the serene mornings, he found solace in the sight of dolphins dancing in his wake, while the gentle sway of the boat in the tranquil evenings cradled his restless dreams to rest. It was the sole sanctuary where the war could not pursue him, where the ocean's gentle cadence washed away the haunting echoes of gunfire and cries. From his vantage point, he beheld La Vida aglow like a celestial city, melodies and laughter wafting gently across the water. Life flows onward, unceasing, as the affluent and joyful revel in their blessings, while an elderly soul grieves in solitude. Henry held no resentment towards their joy. He had witnessed a depth of suffering that could fill countless lifetimes. He longed for them to grasp the depth of what had been lost, not merely a vessel, but a bond to something far more profound. A manner of existing in this world that cherished silence and solitude, honoring the sea rather than seeking to conquer it. Under the gentle glow of the moon, he gracefully unfurled his retired service flag, allowing it to cascade over the porch railing, as the ocean breeze tenderly embraced the fabric once again. As the first light of dawn broke, he stirred from slumber, instinctively reaching for his boat keys, only to pause in gentle recollection. The emptiness in his heart swelled, as if it were destined to envelop the entire space around him. For the first time in 4 decades, he found himself adrift as the morning star dimmed in the sky. He did not seek any form of recompense. He spoke softly, yet he was worthy of one thing above all: respect. If you hold the conviction that honor is beyond purchase, simply inscribe the word honor. The morning fog lingered gracefully over Harborside, enveloping the harbor's entrance in a delicate, pearly mist. Henry reclined on his porch, the coffee in his hands gradually losing its warmth, as he gazed at the ethereal veil that divided the land from the sea. Since the loss of Liberty Child, he found himself adhering to the same hours, yet with no destination in sight, like a sailor marooned upon the shores of a barren land. The initial sign that something extraordinary was unfolding arrived with the haunting call of the harbor foghorn, its 3 long blasts resonating through the tranquil morning air. Henry stood tall, his seasoned instincts awakening to the subtle cue of grand vessels gracing the harbor. Amidst the ethereal mist, shadowy forms materialized, grand and resolute, gliding through the water with an elegant grace. 6 Navy ships glided gracefully in formation, their silhouettes becoming more defined as they drew nearer. Their arrival was unheralded, shrouded in an air of mystery. No festivities had been arranged. The most captivating aspect of it all was the profound silence. Neither horns nor signals, only the essential navigational cues required for our journey. Upon each vessel, the American flag gracefully fluttered at half-mast, a poignant symbol of mourning and reverence. As whispers danced through the air, the townsfolk convened along the shimmering waterfront. Shop owners gracefully turned their signs to closed and swiftly made their way to the docks. Children were released early from summer programs, their joyful voices softened by parents who felt the weight of the moment's gravity, though its reason remained elusive to them. From his exquisite vantage point, Henry observed with a heart full of bewilderment. No naval exercises had been arranged. No esteemed guests were in attendance. The presence of military forces in the quaint tourist harbor seemed utterly unwarranted. The lead vessel, a guided missile destroyer, glided into the dock with exquisite precision. Upon the deck stood Rear Admiral James Nelson, his dress whites pristine, his visage adorned with an air of dignified composure. In his gloved hands, he cradled a flawlessly folded American flag, the triangle of blue and stars presented with exquisite reverence. Henry experienced an unfamiliar constriction in his heart. He was well acquainted with that fold. He had performed it himself countless times throughout his years of service, a gesture bestowed to honor the fallen, a recognition of their profound sacrifice. With a gentle awareness of his stiff joints in his civilian attire, Henry gracefully descended to the harbor. The crowd gracefully parted for him, an instinctive acknowledgement of the significance in his measured approach toward the gathered naval officers. Admiral Nelson caught sight of him and advanced gracefully, his salute sharp and dignified. "Chief Petty Officer Reynolds," he declared, his voice resonating through the hushed harbor. "May I be granted the privilege to approach the land and pay my respects?" Henry responded to the salute with an instinctive grace, the gesture woven into the fabric of his being, untouched by the years spent in the embrace of civilian life. "Permission granted, Admiral," he replied, his voice more composed than he had anticipated. The Admiral gracefully descended the gangway, accompanied by a distinguished color guard. The gathered sailors on all 6 vessels stood poised, their gazes fixed upon the shore. 43 years ago, Nelson chose to speak to the assembled crowd instead of addressing Henry directly. This remarkable man averted a disastrous failure aboard the USS Constellation when a cooling system burst amidst the tempestuous waves of the South China Sea. With a courageous heart, he sealed the compartment, enduring excruciating burns that claimed 60% of his body. His valiant actions shielded the sleeping quarters from the encroaching toxic gases, where 128 sailors rested, blissfully unaware of the lurking peril. A soft whisper danced among the crowd. Many gazed at Henry anew, their eyes drawn to the delicate scars that adorned his neck, softly vanishing beneath the collar of his shirt. Chief Reynolds remained silent about his deeds. He gracefully declined the Navy Cross, requesting only that we look after the boys who did not return home. For 4 decades, he has dwelled among you, seeking nothing, anticipating nothing in return. The Admiral's gaze glided over the harbor, pausing momentarily on the radiant yacht where Reed and a few companions lingered, their eyes fixed in quiet admiration. Yesterday, the vessel known as Liberty Child met its tragic fate in this harbor. No help was extended. There was a distinct absence of respect. The banner beneath which he served was permitted to descend into the depths. A young sailor gracefully stepped forward, cradling a wooden plaque with a sense of purpose. He gracefully approached Thomas, bowing his head in a gesture of respect before unveiling it. Henry gazed thoughtfully at the gleaming surface below. It bore a brass plate from a decommissioned vessel, delicately engraved with the words, "For the man who safeguarded the sea, even beyond his service." The United States Navy holds dear the memory of its own, Admiral Nelson continued. "We gather here to pay tribute to Chief Petty Officer Henry Reynolds, recognizing that his dedication and service continued long after he laid aside his uniform." Throughout the harbor, sailors stood poised, offering their respectful salutes. The color guard gracefully elevated their flags. In that moment, it was not merely 6 ships that had graced the horizon. It embodied the profound essence of naval tradition and the bonds of brotherhood. A figure amidst the gathering commenced a live stream of the ceremony. In mere moments, the captivating footage began to weave its way through the tapestry of social media platforms. The #sign, Boomer Down, which graced yesterday's video of the boat collision, swiftly transitioned to $sign, Veteran Salute. Those who had once ridiculed the elderly gentleman mere hours ago now hurriedly sought to erase their words, their previous jests giving way to expressions of admiration and regret. I was completely unaware. Why was no one ever brave enough to reveal that he was a hero? This is the essence of true service. Reed, observing from his yacht, possessed an air of elegance that betrayed his discomfort. His guests were enveloped in a hush. Champagne flutes gently placed aside as the ceremony gracefully unfolded. Following the formal presentation, Admiral Nelson engaged in a private conversation with Thomas. "Your grandson shared with us the news of what transpired. Daniel reached out to the Navy Alumni Association. Why did you not reach out to us personally, Chief?" Henry offered a delicate shrug. "It is not a concern of yours, my dear sir. It was merely a vessel." "Indeed not, Reynolds. It was never merely a vessel. And you were never merely a sailor." The Admiral gazed thoughtfully across the shimmering expanse of water. "There are certain debts that remain forever unrepayable." As the ceremony drew to a close and the throngs began to scatter, an unexpected occurrence unfolded. One by one, the townspeople drew near to Thomas, many for the first time in years, extending their hands, their gratitude, their heartfelt apologies. The harbor master bestowed upon him the gift of fishing permits for eternity. The proprietor of the charming marina extended a gracious offer of a complimentary slip for any vessel of your choosing. Henry embraced it all with the same serene grace he had displayed when his vessel met its untimely end. Yet, for those who observed with care, a fresh glow danced within his gaze. Not victory, but acknowledgement. After years of quietude, he had finally emerged into the light. A week later, a charming dedication ceremony took place at Thomas's familiar mooring spot. A modest stone marker now graced the dock. Liberty Child, a vessel that embraced the essence of many souls. The town council, in a heartfelt display of unity, embraced the decision with unanimous approval, as several members, with tears glistening in their eyes, reflected on the poignant truth of the quiet man who had quietly woven his life into the fabric of their community for so many years. The harbor had transformed in delicate yet profound ways. Where once tourists had hurried past Henry without a second thought, they now lingered at the memorial, their eyes tracing the words of the plaque that elegantly recounted his service record. Local fishermen, once relegated to the periphery by the allure of pleasure craft, now found themselves embraced with a newfound admiration. The most astonishing transformation was observed in the children. Once distanced from the old fishermen, regarded as mere remnants of a past age, they now congregated at the docks after school, filled with anticipation to absorb tales and acquire skills that no application could ever impart. On this enchanting afternoon, Henry found himself seated on a newly installed bench, gazing fondly at his cherished mooring spot, as he gracefully demonstrated knot-tying techniques to a captivated group of children. His weathered fingers danced with an unexpected grace, weaving simple rope into exquisite patterns that had anchored vessels through innumerable tempests. "This knot is known as a bowline," he said softly, his tone imbued with warmth. A timeless companion to sailors since the days of Columbus. A young girl named Lily, around 7 years of age, observed with earnest focus as he gently led her hands through the graceful motions. "Are you angry at the man who broke your boat?" she inquired suddenly, her gaze piercing through with the unfiltered curiosity that only a child possesses. Henry lingered, contemplating her question with the same tenderness he had devoted to guiding her through the intricacies of the knot. "No," he said at last, "if not for them, perhaps the memory of that boat would fade into oblivion." The children embraced this with thoughtful nods, intuitively grasping a wisdom that eluded many adults. As the afternoon sun began to wane, Henry found himself graced by the arrival of an unexpected visitor. Colton Reed lingered at the edge of the dock, his designer sunglasses perched atop his head, exuding an air of discomfort in the absence of his usual companions. "Mr. Rennell," he began, then paused, visibly grappling with the uncharted waters before him. "I have come to express my sincerest apologies. My actions were utterly unforgivable." Henry nodded, his silence lingering in the air, a moment suspended in anticipation. Reed gracefully presented an envelope. "I wish to set things aright. A blank check awaits within these confines. Please, do share what you believe to be a just compensation for your boat and for my actions. I am open to your suggestion." Henry gazed at the envelope, yet remained still, as if caught in a moment suspended in time. "Wealth cannot restore what has been lost," he murmured softly. "Then reveal to me what shall come," Reed replied, and for the first time, a true emotion pierced through his carefully crafted allure. "I find myself in a rather unfortunate predicament, having become the subject of online discourse as the individual who inadvertently brought ruin to a hero's cherished vessel. Kindly share with me the steps to resolve this matter." Henry gazed thoughtfully at the younger man, lost in contemplation for a lingering moment. At last, he spoke of a place upon the eastern pier. "It greets the dawn with open arms. Place a sturdy bench there, one that embodies durability and grace. Engrave it with a trio of words. Take a seat. Do not forget. Thank you." Reed blinked, his expression revealing an anticipation for a more significant plea. "Is that all there is? Is it merely a bench?" As Henry gazed across the shimmering water, he mused, sometimes what people truly seek is a serene haven to pause and reflect on what holds significance in their lives. 2 days later, a skilled artisan from Seattle graced the scene, ready to install a hand-carved teak bench at the exact location Henry had so thoughtfully chosen. The 3 words were delicately inlaid in bronze, destined to embrace a patina from the sea air, yet forever retaining their essence. Reed himself arrived to assist with the installation, laboring gracefully without a hint of complaint, even as blisters began to form on his well-groomed hands. The news of Thomas's reply to Reed's proposal wafted through the town and beyond, like a gentle breeze carrying whispers of intrigue. The tale captured the attention of national media. A veteran, choosing humility over wealth, requests a memorial bench to honor cherished memories instead of a fortune. Commentators engaged in a spirited discussion, pondering whether his approach was one of excessive leniency or a testament to deep wisdom. Veterans groups referenced his example while reflecting on the profound essence of service and sacrifice. Henry chose to gracefully evade the resurgence of attention. He gracefully embraced his tranquil routine, now devoted to the art of teaching rather than the thrill of fishing. In the absence of Liberty Child, he found himself unable to offer the fish to the community kitchen, a cherished tradition he had upheld for decades. Yet he discovered he could bestow something just as precious: time, patience, and the profound wisdom that arises from a life intertwined with nature's essence. A month after the incident, Admiral Nelson made his return, this time in a humble civilian car, dressed in casual attire, devoid of any grand celebration. He discovered Henry in his familiar place by the dock. "The Secretary of the Navy has a proposition for you," Nelson remarked, following their warm exchange of greetings. "There exists a youth maritime program poised for expansion, dedicated to imparting the art of seamanship, the science of navigation, and the principles of environmental stewardship. They seek instructors who possess a deep understanding of the sea and a genuine connection with young hearts." Henry arched an eyebrow, a hint of intrigue dancing in his gaze. "I am but an old man, Admiral." Nelson chuckled softly, a hint of wistfulness in his voice. "Not much use to anyone these days. Share that with the little ones who trailed behind you like charming ducklings when I arrived. The position awaits you, should you desire it. Flexible hours, part-time engagement, and a respectable stipend await you." Just as Henry was about to reply, a stir at the harbor entrance drew their gaze. A charming wooden boat was being gently towed in, freshly crafted yet embodying a timeless elegance in its traditional design. Upon its stern, the fresh paint shimmered, proclaiming the name Liberty's Child. The whole town appeared to have congregated by the docks. Daniel stood at the helm, a radiant smile gracing his lips. "What a delightful surprise, Grandpa," he exclaimed. "We all contributed together. The design draws inspiration from your cherished old plans. I discovered them nestled within your shed." The Boat Builders Association graciously provided the materials, while veterans from 4 states united their efforts to assist in the construction. Henry stood in silence, his weathered visage betraying a tumult of emotions as the vessel, reminiscent of his cherished lost boat, glided gracefully toward the dock. "It's not quite the same," Daniel confessed, gently fastening the mooring lines with a touch of care. "We have infused modern safety features and refreshed the navigation system, yet the essence remains unchanged. Your hands may not have crafted it, yet your heart envisioned it with grace." As Henry stepped aboard, his feet gracefully finding their balance on the gently rocking deck, he ran his hand along the polished wooden rail, a gesture imbued with the instinct of a lifetime spent at sea. At the bow, a fresh American flag danced gracefully in the gentle breeze. For a man who held steadfast to his beliefs, Daniel spoke softly, even when it appeared that no one was observing. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue over the harbor, Henry found himself seated on Reed's bench, gazing at the fishing boats gracefully making their way back with the fruits of their labor. A young couple lingered nearby, their eyes tracing the 3 words delicately etched into the wood. Their little one inquired about its meaning. "It signifies," the father elaborated, "that we ought to pause occasionally and reflect on those who have rendered our lives possible." Henry smiled gently, his eyes fixed on the horizon where the sea and sky embraced in a harmonious blend of blue. In a world that rushes ever onward, he stood as a graceful reminder to glance back, not with longing, but with reverence for the very foundations upon which the present is delicately crafted. His new vessel would glide through the same waters as the old, embodying the same cherished values. Unwavering steadiness in the tempest, generous assistance offered freely, and a gentle courage that emerges when needed. He sought not justice, but simply gathered the tattered flag and strolled away. Yet, with the dawn's gentle embrace, the sea held his memory close. If you hold the belief that tales such as these are worthy of remembrance, join us at Incredible Stories, where valor endures and the whispers of silence are forever vanquished.